The PlayStation HD camera is arguably the weirdest, worst, and honestly most bizarre PlayStation 5 accessory Sony has released. But does that mean it's not useful or it doesn't have a place in your setup? Well, let's check it out. Now let's first cover what this guy actually is. This is essentially a webcam that connects to your PS5. It doesn't connect to your PC or Mac in any way, and it only actually has two functions. But before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned to this channel for all things PlayStation. So, what does this thing actually do? Well, firstly, you can use it to record yourself directly in SharePlay and add that recording to your timeline. And secondly, and probably more importantly, it allows you to put a face cam on your streams. So the PS5 has built-in streaming software, and this is the only way that you can use a face cam for that built-in streaming software. Now, there's a lot of different settings you can change, the different sizes of the camera in the stream, the shape around you in the camera. You can also chroma key it, which means you could probably add in a green screen. Unfortunately, I don't have a green screen, so we can't test that out, but a lot of people do say that this function works pretty good. But what about the actual performance? Aside from the green screen component working decently well, what is required of you to make it work so well is good lighting. Now, recently I had done a 5-day challenge where I streamed for the majority of those days, and I used this camera and the PlayStation's built-in streaming, knowing that I was building up to doing a video like this. So what I found was that this camera was okay as long as I had really good lighting. The lighting really has a massive impact on the performance of this little guy, because when I didn't have good lighting and I just had my single one light that focused down on me, first of all, it became very apparent because the the light would reflect on my glasses, so I had to take my glasses off and then play with lesser quality. But the camera always seemed blurry. Now, it is a 1080p camera, so it does record at a really good quality for what is literally just going to be a face cam. However, without good lighting, it really does not work at all. So you have to have incredibly good lighting for this to function at a somewhat respectable level. Now, another very frustrating thing about using the built-in streaming is that the camera is still visible to you, so your picture is on your display as well, so you still see yourself as everyone else would be seeing you on stream. So I often had the problem where I was covering up something important, so some important HUD element that I needed to see in order to progress in the game, and I would be covering it up with myself, which was often not the most enjoyable experience. Now, there is one thing that I have been avoiding talking about, and that's not without good reason. This, at its base price, is not worth it. So in South Africa, the base price for this is 1,300 Rand or thereabouts, maybe 1,200 Rand on a small sale. And that's just not worth it. Not for what you're getting. So I didn't pay that. I got mine for about 300 Rand at Macro on a stupid sale. And I got it because I actually thought that initially you could record yourself while in gameplay. So while I was doing gameplay videos back in the day, like my Spider-Man ones, I thought that I would be able to record myself directly into gameplay, and that doesn't work. You would only be able to record yourself over gameplay in the SharePlay factory or stream it directly to YouTube or Twitch. That's another thing. You can only stream directly to YouTube and Twitch, no other streaming platforms, which I think at least it covers the two big ones. Looking for the positives here. But this guy at 1,300 Rand is not worth it. If you can find it on sale for maybe below 500 Rand, then I would say definitely consider it. And the only two times I would say consider it are if getting into streaming is going to cost you an arm and a leg and get a little bit too ridiculous. This is a good way to start testing out the waters, a good way to see that if you are prepared to put in the time and maybe you do develop an audience, then you can further along the line invest in more enthusiast grade equipment. So maybe like an Elgato capture card, a computer that can handle the capture card. This is pretty much an all-in-one package. Now, you don't need this to stream. You can stream without video and maybe just do audio, which is also a very viable option. But only having this and adding this to just your PlayStation 5 and having that be your base streaming setup as a beginner is a really awesome way to start, but I don't think it should be something that enthusiasts look into. I don't think this is going to replace someone with a dedicated streaming setup. Now, I used it because I'm not a dedicated streamer. I don't have the need to have the Elgato and everything. If we do maybe work on getting more streams onto the channel, then I would probably look into upgrading the Elgato or upgrading to the Elgato and doing streams like that. However, for the small amount of streams that I do and just having the opportunity to engage with you guys, I think this covered that practice really well, and it was a lot of fun if you can set it up correctly and you do not have to pay over 500 Rand for it. So what do I actually think? I think if you are looking at starting streaming, it's a great little way to start that just off your PlayStation. And I think you should really carefully consider the amount of money that you're going to spend on something like this. If you are looking at spending 1,300 Rand, I would start looking at maybe purchasing other equipment. I would say the most important investment is probably a microphone. I think a microphone goes a long way in terms of upgrading the quality of your videos, because with a microphone you start having better audio. People want to listen more than they want to see. If you have great video and terrible audio, it's not going to be something that everyone wants to watch. So always invest in audio, maybe just before you invest in video capture. So get a dedicated microphone and start streaming like that. It'll probably go a long way. Then if you want to maybe look into getting something like this, I would then look at getting something like this if that fits your budget. And then if you are willing to spend more, start moving towards more your enthusiast grade stuff. So it is definitely the weirdest little PlayStation accessory that has ever been released, because it doesn't have any other functions. It doesn't work on PlayStation VR with PlayStation VR 1, where you had the HD camera for the PlayStation 4. This doesn't do anything like that. It doesn't help you with that at all. So it is literally just a dedicated streaming webcam, or if you want to put yourself into SharePlay, which is weird, but that is it. So let me know in the comments below, do you guys have one of these? Do you have it just for the purpose of collecting it, or do you actually use it? Guys, I can't wait to see you again next week. We have a massive week coming up next week. There are so many things coming out. Ghost of Yote is releasing on Friday. We have pre-orders for the new God of War controller that was announced recently. And there is something special coming on Monday. Let me know if you can figure out what's coming on Monday. But other than that, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Cheers.